into a tailspin. But so here's the essential structure. So a student applies, they get accepted, they get accepted to their first choice of project, which happens about 90% of the time because that's really what we want to do. And so they commit to essentially a 1 year time frame working on that project, starting in the spring semester, ending in the end of the fall semester. And then in the summer, they have the opportunity, it's not a requirement for the fellowship, but they have an opportunity if they want to work on the project full-time in the summer through Mountaintop. And then there's the other summer component, which is required for the fellowship, which is the international fieldwork component. And when we say field work, our field work is true on the ground, rigorous field work. So these are, we structure the field work as 2.5 to 3 week time frames. And when the students are there, they are doing everything that they need to do in order to move their projects forward. They are networking with partners. They are finding new partners. They are conducting interviews and focus groups. They are really, implementing their products. They are pilot testing products. They're doing everything that needs to be done in order to really supercharge their project forward. And then they come back from that, and in the fall semester, then they have an opportunity to kind of digest what happened during field work, get the project really in its next phase to set it up for the next team of students that will then theoretically come in the next spring semester. So so then in the spring and spring and fall semesters, they take 3 academic credits each semester, consisting of 2 courses. 1 credit each semester from a 3-hour seminar that meets once a week, in which we sort of deliver to them the kind of overarching topical content that they would need. We talk about those mindsets and skill sets in that seminar course. We have them work on their team building and leadership skills. We have them work on ethical decision making. We give them all kinds of case studies on social impact and global social impact projects to digest and to think about and talk about. We require them to give presentations to panels of external referees that come in. Dr. Soriano has been invited to those panels a couple of times. And they are required twice each semester to give those presentations, and they get rated on those presentations. So if we do any focusing on grades, it's in that mode where these are external people not affiliated with the projects, but these are experts in the field, and they come in and they determine, they get to feedback to the students and say, here's where you're on the right track, here's where you might be on the wrong track, here's how you can think more expansively and more impactfully about your project. And so that's an opportunity for them to get that external calibration that we talk about. So 3 credits in the spring, 3 credits in the fall, and then in the summer field work. And then we offer, as you see, some day-long workshops. We do a kickoff workshop on a Saturday. We do a research writing workshop after field work, so that then they can really start to think about how are they going to publish the findings that they came up with from this field work. So now the elephant in the room, which you see right there in the middle of this matrix, is of course the pandemic. We did not do any international travel in 2020. And in 2021, thus far, we have not done any international travel. We are currently keeping our fingers heavily crossed that we can get some students to Sierra Leone in August, next month. We've actually bought their tickets. And so because currently the COVID situation in Sierra Leone is fairly mild, although it looks like even in the last day or two that may be changing quickly. So that trip could still be canceled, but that would be, if we are able to go and take those students, it will be Lehigh University's first sanctioned international travel for any of its students since the pandemic began. So we're, again, very hopeful, cautiously, but the fact is that because we haven't been able to do this international field work, some of the projects have really stagnated, and it's been much more difficult to really move them forward. That doesn't mean we still haven't had students working on the projects, but it's been obviously much more difficult because really we structured the program pre-pandemic, predicated on this idea that they would be able to go and conduct the field work. So put that aside for just a moment, and I'll say one more thing about the fieldwork, which is that also in terms of finances, we cover all students' in-country expenses while they are there. That's all their lodging, most meals, anything they would need while they're in country, we cover out of our budget. And then and obviously that leaves the students on the hook for airline tickets and vaccinations and visa costs and things like that, which is no small cost. But we provide, there are multiple sources of funding from various departments, offices, colleges throughout Lehigh that we connect our students with. There are funds set up at Lehigh to help facilitate international travel for students that have high financial need. In other words, who really can't pay anything out of pocket. There are offices and funds at Lehigh University that are specifically set up to help those students make those opportunities possible. So the bottom line that we're very proud of is that no Lehigh student has ever been denied the opportunity to go on international fieldwork because of their ability to pay or not. So that is a big part of how we structure the program as well. All right, so let me quickly go through the projects that we have here. I think I have all 10. Sickle cell diagnostic. This is obviously, these first 6 are the Sierra Leone-based projects. This team has already developed in the lab a low cost, I think it would be just under $2 a piece, diagnostic test strip that can identify sickle cell trait before it leads to sickle cell disease, which is obviously can create huge health problems, and it does create huge health problems. And oftentimes the problem is less of the ability to treat sickle cell disease than it is the diagnosing of it. And diagnostics, currently diagnostic tests run, I think, around $10 a piece average. And so this is less than $2 each. So the team has already developed a working test strip, and they're working closely with Dr. Chidi Jaja, who you see here in the picture, who teaches at the University of South Carolina in the US, but is native Sierra Leonean and runs several health clinics in Sierra Leone. So the team is working with him to get these test strips integrated into the community health system. Here's a team that's, so this is relevant, of course, to the hunger matter. This is a team that's working on creating climate stable mushroom production systems, building mushroom production houses in Sierra Leone. This project actually started in Cambodia, where of course mushrooms are already much more of a part of the agriculture and in the food system. Not so much in Sierra Leone, although mushrooms are very much consumed when they are available, but they are not usually available. And we determined that the nutritional value potential in mushrooms was good enough that if we can produce them at scale and really get them into the marketplace, that there would be a market for them and that they could be integrated into the Sierra Leonean food system with high nutritional value. So they've already built one grow house in Sierra Leone. That was 2 years ago, back the last time they did field work. And they're currently conducting a lot of experiments on Lehigh's campus in order to try and figure out scaling up the operations. Mothers of Sierra Leone. This is a documentary filmmaking project that's looking at the real maternal mortality crisis in Sierra Leone. As some of you may know, Sierra Leone is one of the highest maternal mortality rates in the world. 1 out of every 16 pregnant women or mothers dies in the process either of giving birth or shortly thereafter or before or during pregnancy. So this team is just looking at that from a documentary filmmaking point of view. They're producing a series of documentary shorts that they're hoping to get to a very wide audience in the rest of the world to bring attention and awareness to this issue. Ukulele test strips. This is our most longest term project. This project has been in existence. Actually, it predates Kanjan's time at Lehigh. He actually began this project while he was still at Penn State. And the concept here is a test strip that can diagnose urinary tract infections and preeclampsia in pregnant women. Again, addressing the maternal mortality crisis in Sierra Leone. So that by diagnosing these things early, these conditions, the treatments can be applied. And again, the issue is not that the inability to diagnose these conditions, the issue has always been cost and availability of the diagnostics. And in this case, the Ukulele test strips can be manufactured for 2 cents each. which is about 100 times less than the going rate for a diagnostic test for UTIs and preeclampsia in Sierra Leone. So this project, having really achieved its certainly achieved its science, has been already been being manufactured and has already been integrated into some of the peripheral health units and community health clinics in Sierra Leone. And we have a photo there on the left of one of our students who actually just graduated last year. And the reason she's there is because she really spearheaded the efforts to get permission from the Pharmacy Control Board in Sierra Leone to manufacture and distribute the Ukweli test strips. And that was a year-long process, at least, involving heavy paperwork. And so this was an undergraduate student who, along with the team, really led the efforts to get that approval, and we're extremely proud of that. Diagnosing autism in Africa. This is a team being led by one of the special education professors at Lehigh, and it's as the name says, it's attempting to not just provide a screening tool for diagnosing autism, but really identifying what autism is in West African nations, where it's still often seen as very with a lot of skepticism, in some cases actually even with violence. It's seen as a curse in some cases. And so this team is trying to destigmatize the idea of autism and autism spectrum disorders in Africa. And so they're doing this by developing a multicultural screening tool. Whoops. So the final project in Sierra Leone is food products for childhood malnutrition and stunting. Obviously a huge issue in Sierra Leone, as it is in many countries. So this team, this is from their last fieldwork trip 2 years ago. This team developed muffins for 2 to 5 year olds and a pudding for 0 to 2 year olds that contained high levels of essential nutrients, vitamin A, iodine, iron, and blanking on the other one. But they developed these, while they were in Sierra Leone, and then they started to test them out, and that was kind of as far as they got on the last fieldwork trip. And so that project is still in existence, but it's been a little bit on hold, and we haven't actually taken new students onto that project until we know that we can get back there for fieldwork. All right, so here are the two Philippines-based projects. I know I'm far over time, so I'm going to go a little bit more quickly here. Plastic Ventures, we can have a chance to talk about this. Taking plastics waste and creating simple machines that can upcycle that plastics waste into products and then working with groups of nanais outside of Manila in order to give them use of these machines to create products that they can sell for an income stream. So a very multi-level project there, addressing the plastics waste problem and also addressing the income problem among some of these communities. And then Zero Hunger College. This is, I mentioned the Mindanao Food Highway project earlier, and Dr. Soriano certainly mentors this project. This is looking at a model of establishing a school of sorts or a curriculum for women to learn more about farming, agriculture, food systems, and so that they can then take back to their village the knowledge that they gain from a short course, maybe 6 months to a year of a curriculum, and then they can address those food insecurity issues back at home. These are the two projects in Kazakhstan. We have both of them dealing with the air quality problems in the city of Almaty, fast-growing city and with a huge air pollution problem. So this team, Save Tuba, is developing a game, an app for middle school students that will help educate them on environmental problems and also on lifestyle changes that they can make in order to improve their environment, in order to help improve their environment. So the idea is getting the younger children engaged in this issue, and then hopefully they can transfer that to their parents, grandparents, and whoever. And then finally, another project. This is dealing with the air quality issue from a different angle, providing an app that can help people recognize when the air quality is very poor, when it's a little bit better, maybe even if they're taking a trip or if they're going for a run, an app that would identify routes that they could take that would be better air quality, particularly if they have pre-existing conditions like asthma. So, and then very, very quickly, two other impact fellowships we've established that have spun out of the Global Impact Social Impact Fellowship. Lehigh Valley Social Impact Fellowship. Lehigh Valley is the region where Bethlehem is, where Lehigh University is. It's a region encompassing about 700,000 people and about 3 different cities, eastern Pennsylvania. So we have projects that deal with similar issues in this region. We have projects that deals with the prison problem. We have projects that are educating students about the natural world around them that they may not, that urban students may not get to experience through virtual reality. And then finally, Campus Sustainable Impact Fellowship. We established this program just last year. So all of these projects are very early stage, but we have projects looking at the carbon footprint and water footprint of various foods that the university dining services purchases and uses, so that students can make different choices in dining, and also the dining services can make different choices in the foods that they purchase. We have a project looking at the campus food system to try and make it more closed loop system. There are, even at a very wealthy and privileged research university like Lehigh, there are inequities in the food system. There are students that end up in the end of the semester, they have unused meals in their meal plan, and there are other students that are struggling to find those meals, and there's no way to connect those. So that's one of the things that this project is trying to address. An energy and water dashboard for what the energy usage is around campus to try and get people aware of where the most energy is being used and try and reduce it. Smart recycling bins, which are sorely lacking in the US. Living spaces that involve nature, where people can live and work in nature. And then, as I mentioned, Lehigh's on a mountain, so transportation is a constant issue, and the energy efficiency of that transportation is a constant issue. So we have a team that's brainstorming, ideating new ways that Lehigh might construct its transportation system, and even radical ideas like a gondola that goes over the mountain that might create more energy efficiency. All of the projects seek and most get external funding. We have lots of external partners. And I'm just going to point to one here that's relevant to the group. That's on the bottom left there, the Food System Vision Prize. We were really pleased. This was 2 years, or last year, I guess, early last year. 75,000 projects were submitted for the Food System Vision Prize that the Rockefeller Foundation was established. One of which was our malnutrition and stunting project in Sierra Leone that I mentioned earlier. And 20,000 projects. They selected 75 semifinalists, and our project was one of those 75. So we were very pleased about that. They didn't make it onto the finals, but that was a real validation of the kind of work that we're doing. And all of this is validation of the work that we do. And we couldn't do it without some of these external funds. So I know I'm far over time, so I'll just cruise through my top 10 list here. This is kind of just some of the qualities of the work. Multidisciplinary teams, being a global professional, as I mentioned, published research, professional conferences. Here's our students at a professional conference just a couple of years ago in California. Grad schools, med schools, we have students going on getting Fulbrights, fellowships, taking impact-focused careers, and then, of course, we try and have a little bit of fun along the way. And so we're very proud of the fact that a lot of our students have chosen other career paths than they ever would have considered after participating in these programs. Because, in fact, I'll actually just go ahead and show this student right here, Nikesh Gamani. He graduated last year. He's currently pursuing a master's degree at the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, and a joint master's with that school and the London School of Economics. And he's already had a couple of positions at PATH and other major nonprofits conducting social impact work. And he had no idea of any of these potential career paths before he engaged with us. So with that, I will finally conclude, and I will stop sharing.